This month, I helped a client who earns over $120,000 a year eliminate just under $9,000 in credit card interest and reduce years off their payoff date. In this video, I'll show you the exact four-step system I use to help them eliminate their debt, reduce their payoff date, and take control of their finances. You're gonna learn the debt management framework, the 0% debt hack, and how to pay down your debt and put more money back into your pocket in this process. It's not uncommon for most professionals making good money to feel financially stuck. You're making good money, but somehow you still feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck. And most times that's due to high interest debt just piling up, where trying to save money seems impossible. With the debt management framework, I've been able to help clients escape kind of this debt trap that they're in. It's real simple. There's 4 steps to it. Step 1, write down every single debt you have, including interest rates and minimum payments. Step 2, transfer the debts that will cost you the most to a 0 APR balance transfer credit card. Step 3 is reorganize and prioritize. Here we're going to rework the numbers, make a new list of the debts from highest to lowest costs, and prioritize the most expensive debt. And in step 4, we're going to set up automated payments to stay consistent. One of my clients, AJ, implemented this strategy and it saved her just under $9,000 in interest costs, and it reduced years off of her payoff date. Let's get right into it. In step 1, we're going to see what we're dealing with. We need to see what's going on. So you're going to write down all your debt. You're going to write down the balance, the minimum payment, and the interest rate. From there, we're going to calculate and see how much interest will be charged to that debt. In AJ's case, I asked her to send me separately what she was actually paying on these credit cards, and immediately I seen some red flags. She was paying more on some of the accounts, which is great. That's never a red flag. But then she wasn't even reaching the minimum on some. Don't do that ever. It's best to pay the minimum on all of them before you're paying more on one and not even reaching the minimum on another. So that's something that I immediately knew we would have to adjust. But before making any changes, we're going to go on to step 2. My favorite part of the whole process. If you watch my videos, you know I love me a balance transfer. There is no better hack to eliminating your debt, getting rid of your debt, reducing your debt, paying off your debt sooner than this hack. This is my holy grail, my golden nugget. I will probably put it in every single video, or at least allude to it in every single video. If you've tried it or if you've used it at all, let me know in the comments how you like it, because I wonder if everyone loves it as much as I do. So I sent AJ an application to a credit card that was a 21-month 0 APR balance transfer, which is probably the best I've seen. I had her apply for it. She got approved. So at this point, we transferred $6,300 from her most expensive costing card and $2,700 from her second most expensive costing card. So the 2 cards that are going to cost her the most. Now you might be asking why we didn't transfer the full $4,242 from the second card onto the new card. And that's because, as you know, every credit card comes with a credit limit. And when you consider the balance transfer fees and all other costs, it was gonna be too close to her credit limit. And I like to leave a little wiggle room. So after the transfer is done, we kind of take a step back while we're moving forward. We look at all the debts again, okay? They're gonna look different now because we've moved the money to a 0 APR credit card, which means that money no longer is costing her to have borrowed. So now we're going to see which debts are costing her the most, and we're going to prioritize those debts and start a payment plan. So we rework the numbers. When I tell you it took me like 6 times to say that, we're going to make a new list and we're going to prioritize the most expensive debt while paying the minimums on all the rest. Now in AJ's case, there were some slight exceptions just for the first month. Let's take a look. So after making the transfer to card 5, which is her new card with a 0 APR costing her $0 to have borrowed that money, you'll see that the card that had the $6,309 in debt only has $9. And you'll see the card that was $4,242 is now only $1,542. While that still remains card number 3, AJ usually pays $862 towards her debts every month. So in this first month after her transfer is complete, She's gonna pay off card number 1 and 2, which will avoid any extra costs, right? She won't be getting charged any interest rate because she's going to pay those balances right off. And just like that, she's eliminated 2 of her debts. Now, with those debts gone, I would normally roll those payments into the next debt. And she would continue paying $862 a month. But it was really important for AJ to put more money back into her pocket because she was feeling a lot of financial constraint and feeling like she just, within 2 to 3 days, her paycheck was completely gone and she had nothing. She just had nothing left after paying all her debt. So we weren't going to do that. I was able to crunch the numbers in a way where she wouldn't have to roll over that money. A big part of that has to do with the balance transfer. She was paying a lot towards those debts, and the money she was paying towards those debts can roll over. But when she eliminates a debt, we're going to put that back into her pocket. So she's going to pay $168 towards her $1,542 until it's done. She's going to continue paying the minimum on the $5,868 because the interest is so low. I believe there was a $40 savings if she would roll over that $168 into the $432, and we felt that it was better for her to put that $168 back in her pocket than towards that debt and only save $40. At that point, she'll have $330 back in her pocket and she'll just be paying down her debt. Now, this might not seem phenomenal. This $300 back in your pocket and you still have an outstanding debt of like $10,000 because essentially you didn't pay it off, you just moved it. But let me break down what's really happening. You have to consider AJ was paying $862 towards her debt every month. That's a significant amount of money. She had no extra cash. She was feeling like she was living paycheck to paycheck. And on some of her debt, she wasn't even reaching the minimum. That means that no matter how much she was paying towards that debt, it wasn't getting lower. It was only increasing. And just after 1 month on a debt management plan, she has her debt under control. She's eliminated thousands in interest costs, which I will show you. She has money back in her pocket, which she hasn't had in quite some time. And she did all this without having to put any more money. In fact, she's putting less money than she was paying, not having to get a side hustle. And she eliminated one of her debts immediately, like right away. Can you imagine borrowing $277 and having to pay it for the next 12 months? So I'm about to show you a side-by-side comparison so you can see the real wins and the real control she had. On one side, you see what the balances were, how much time it was going to take to pay it off, and how much interest she was going to end up paying. She was going to be debt-free in just short of 6 years and pay $8,808.40. And with this debt management plan, AJ won't be debt-free. I'm not going to pretend like card number 5 doesn't exist, right? We were able to eliminate most of her debt in 1 year and 3 months. We will have eliminated the top 4 cards in 1 year and 3 months, not 6 years, 1 year and 3 months, while also consolidating her most expensive debt. We've put them in one payment and she is no longer going to be paying that $4,000 or that $3,000. Really more like 5 and 4, but she's no longer paying that to have borrowed that money. She is only going to pay back the money that she borrowed. So because of this interest-free account, she's going to end up paying $526.86 in interest costs versus the $8,808. That's going to save her $8,281. So you might be like, yeah, but she still has that $10,000 in debt. You are not listening. She is paying 0 interest. Okay. Had she kept it where it was, she would be paying over $6,000 in interest. So yeah, she didn't eliminate it, right? She wasn't gonna eliminate it until 6 years, but she was gonna pay $6,000 to do it. Okay, now she can still work towards eliminating that, and she'll eliminate it as fast or as slow as she wants to, but she won't pay an extra dime. And she was able to eliminate her other debts in the process. Once you've gained this control, once you see the numbers, once you're not paying for money that you borrowed, like that never made sense to me. If I had the money, I wouldn't have borrowed it. So you have to strategize and figure out how can you borrow this money without paying for without paying extra for it. And not because you're trying to get over, but because it's possible. So finally, step 4 is just to automate your payments. Being consistent and sticking to the plan, that's where the results come in. That's where big savings will happen. So once your high interest debt is gone, you need to redirect that money. Put it in investments, put it in a high yield savings plan, put it in a retirement plan. Just make your money make money. Like if it's sitting there, make it make money. And if this all looks good to you and you're like, yeah, I can see how that worked, but I just don't get how to do it, book a free discovery call using the link in the description below. Like I would be happy to work on a custom plan for you and show you what you're capable of saving in regards to money and time, and just getting control of your finances and relieving you of that stress. Listen, every step toward financial freedom starts with one choice. Keep planning, moving forward, and stay empowered. I'll see you in the next video.